Hi, I'm Sebastian Silvani, a transit vehicle specialist with the firm CH2M Hill. Today, I will be providing instruction on how to conduct a visual condition assessment of GRTA's MCI bus fleet and introduce to you the new inspection form and inspection criteria that we'll be using for these inspections. To ensure uniformity of inspections, it's important that each location and each inspector perform the inspections based on a standardized set of criteria that will be introduced in this video. Finally, it should be noted that this inspection procedure is fully compliant with the Federal Transit Administration's procedure for on-site inspections and is being used by a growing number of U.S. transit agencies. The inspection form has been developed and organized to facilitate the inspection. It covers and is grouped into three main categories: the interior, exterior, and mechanical components. We will review each group and each component to understand what is being inspected. The rating criteria for each group vary slightly, and descriptions are available as reference. A quick and generalized criteria and a more detailed criteria for each group of components is available in the inspection form. Let's begin with a review of the grading scale. Each component is graded on a 1 to 5 scale, 5 being the best. 5 represents a new component. A rating of 4 is a component that is in good shape, but with some age-apparent wear. A light cleaning is probably enough to bring it up to a like-new condition. A rating of 3 defines that significant wear is present. The component might be lightly damaged, but is still functioning properly. Perhaps painting, adjusting is what's needed to fix this component. A rating of 2 is a heavily worn item. Most items require replacement at this level. Significant corrosion, dents, damaging, but the component might still be functioning, but it requires replacement. A rating of 1 signifies a component that is completely missing, broken, corroded beyond repair, and should never have been on the bus in the first place. While whole numbers are encouraged, decimals are acceptable. Let's begin the inspection and show examples of each. This is the header of the form, and this is the VIN. And you'll notice the header requires you to write down the VIN of the vehicle as well as the odometer mileage. We'll begin evaluating the interior with the driver's area. The driver's seat, inspected for any tears. An additional item to check on the driver's seat is the functionality of the seat belt. So this seat, as you can tell, has a torn seat back, and the cushioning is pretty much gone. This seat would be rated a 2. It's no longer functioning well. The driver's console, oftentimes the lettering has worn through and is illegible. Here's an example of a driver's console that's worn and faded to a category 3 level. The lettering is illegible on 2 of the switches and should be repaired. Anywhere greater than this would warrant a category 2. Here's a driver's console that will be rated a 1. There's no lettering visible. The driver can't use this without it being replaced. He doesn't know what switches control what. The driver's console shows some wear, but the lettering is still legible, except one minor portion. This could be rated a 4, perhaps a 3.5. But because the functionality is still there, it's still legible. A 4 is an appropriate rating. The steering wheel and the console are in good shape, with some age evident wear. So this would be rated about a 3. The console is in better shape, and some light cleaning would bring it up to standard. So that could be rated a 4. The driver's mirrors are also in good shape with no cracks, so they could be rated a 4. You'll notice that the windshield has one small chip, and therefore that brings the rating down to a 3, and it may need to be repaired or replaced. The entry door and steps are inspected for wear and cleanliness. Remember that we want to attract riders, so faded, worn, or dirty seats or flooring is not acceptable, and therefore are graded as 2s or 3s. The modesty panel is beginning to show signs of significant wear. Although not torn yet, this is probably graded a 3 and should be replaced. Continuing with the interior inspection, all lights, including reading lights, must be operational. The passenger seats will begin to show wear and fading. A faded seat like this one is rated a 3. This can't be cleaned up and fixed. One that's just dirty and can be cleaned up would be rated a 4. If there's tears on the seat, or if the seat back is not operational, that would be rated a 2. The flooring on this coach is dirty and faded and significantly worn down the center aisle. This flooring would be rated a 3, perhaps a 3.5 if it looks better once cleaned. This headliner looks to be in good shape. A little bit dirty that can be cleaned up, but otherwise properly fastened and in good shape. This headliner is rated a 4. Lastly, we want to look at the wheelchair tie downs and make sure that they retract properly. The windows look to be in good shape with no scratches or graffiti, so they would be rated a 4 as well. Now we can begin the inspection on the front of the bus. There are specific items such as paint, decals, bumpers that need to be looked at. So let's begin with the front of the coach. The bike rack needs to be operational. Let me check. This bike rack would be rated a 4. There's some wear, but it functions properly, and a little cleanup would make it look as new. The decals on the front are beginning to show significant wear. This cannot be cleaned up and made to look nice. So this rates a 2. The decal needs to be replaced. The paint looks to be in good shape, and a cleanup and some waxing would make it shine like new. So that would be rated a 4. The exterior mirrors show some minor wear, some minor scratches. They could be rated a 4 as well. Make sure you look around the windshield glass and notice any deficiencies in the seals. The bumper is beginning to show some scratches and some fading. It's probably not quite up to a level of a 4, so a 3.5 is appropriate for the bumper. We can begin the curbside inspection with the passenger doors. These doors are functioning properly, they look good, there's no significant scratches, dents, or damage. These doors would be rated a 4. Okay? As we move towards the back, inspect the mud guards, the rub rails, and the paint and decals as well. The front windows are in excellent shape, but towards the back we begin to notice more scratches. This window needs replacing, and it would be rated a 3. The decals show significant wear, and they would be rated a 3. The lower compartment doors are also inspected for wear or damage. This is often where you find damage from hitting curbs. This particular coach looks to be in good shape. The doors look just dirty but not damaged. They would be rated a 4. On the curb side is where we find the battery compartment. We need to inspect the condition of the batteries. The battery compartment is inspected for proper connections, proper routing of the cables, and in particular for corrosion on the battery tray. This tray is in excellent condition with no signs of corrosion. It is rated a 4. The rear decals also show significant signs of peeling and wear. Together with front decals, these are rated a 3 and should be replaced. As we come around the back, we can see significant wear and some damage on the corner panel, significant deterioration of the decal. This would be rated a 3. It needs repair and replacing of the decal. On the rear of the coach, we make sure that all lights are functional and note any deficiencies. These lights are all functional, showing some age-related wear, but they would be rated a 4. Here's one slight damage on the fiberglass panel. Again, taking the entire rear of the bus down to a 3. The rear bumper is inspected in a similar way to the front bumper. On the rear, looks a little faded and worn, but on the side, it's showing some damage. The damage here brings this bumper down to a 3. Still functional, but it should be replaced. If the bumper had been torn off or not functional, it would be rated a 2, perhaps a 1. We now begin the inspection on the street side of the coach. This lower compartment door has been damaged. The decals show significant wear and tear, and the wheels look to be in good shape. Because of this damage, the lower compartment doors will be rated a 3, as well as the decals. As we move towards the front, we continue inspecting the rub rails, mud guards, and windows of the coach. There is no significant damage to these compartment doors, nor is there any significant damage to the windows. But the decal fading and wearing is evident on this side as well. The decals are rated a 3. Rub rails and mud guards are in good shape. A little cleaning would be fine. They're rated a 4. We inspect the wheels and tires for damage and cleanliness as well. Observe the torque indicators on the lug nuts. Make sure they are in place and pointing properly. Look for any damaged curb rash on the tires. And once we get underneath, we'll look for tread wear on the tires as well. The wheels themselves are clean and in good shape. We begin inspecting the general condition of the engine. Cleanliness and oil leaks are important to note and will bring down the grading. This engine, although some age apparent wear, is in pretty good shape. Look at the belts. Look for wear on the belts. Any cords showing would bring them down to a 2 or 3. These belts are in good condition and could be considered a 4. So here's an example of a belt that is beginning to show significant wear. This would be rated a 3. Still functioning, but should be replaced in fairly short order. The alternator is an air-cooled alternator and will not suffer the oil leaks of the previous versions. This alternator is in good shape and can be considered a 4. The AC compressor is also in good shape, showing no signs of leakage or wear. Coolant hoses are inspected for seepage or expansion. There's no evidence of that on this engine. A general inspection of the wiring and harnesses is performed. So let's look at the structural components of the engine compartment. Begin with the doors, hinges, and mounting points. These all look to be in good shape and can be rated a 4. It's important to note any structural deficiencies holding the radiator and the mounting points for the radiator. On the curb side of the engine, we can look at the engine cradle and engine mounts. These are in good shape, showing no sign of corrosion, so they can be rated a 4. The rubber engine mount is in good shape, showing no sign of deterioration, and that can be rated a 4 as well. Note all the wiring looms and wiring harnesses, which are also appropriately tied and in good place. These can be rated a 4 as well. There's no evidence of any oil leaks from this point of view, so this could be rated a 4 as well. From this location, you can also look at the bulkhead. Although with some dirt and soot accumulation, this is still in good shape. It's not showing signs of tearing or deterioration. That can be rated a 4. Perhaps a 3.5 if you find small tears. From this angle, the AC compressor is visible, so you can inspect it for any damage or leakage. This bracket has been shown to crack, so pay close attention to it. There's no cracks, no leaks. This AC compressor can be rated a 4. From the street side, we perform a similar inspection. Hinges and frame are in good shape. The visible exhaust has no leaks and is in good shape. And the air intake seems solid with no leaks. The engine frame and cradle is in excellent shape with no visible signs of corrosion. That's rated a 4, as are the exhaust and the air intake. This engine has some leakage through the gasket. So why did I rate it a 4 and not a 3? Well, you'll notice that in the detailed description of the ratings, under condition 4 for the engine compartment, it states generally clean, which this engine is, mechanically sound. Again, this engine is mechanically sound with some wear visible and minimal leakage. So this engine in this amount of leakage conforms to a condition of 4. Now we're going to raise the vehicle and inspect the undercarriage. Make sure you follow all safety regulations before you get under the bus. So I like to begin my inspections front to back. Look at the entrance. Look at the entrance structure. Make sure the rods are not bent or damaged. This is rated a 4. It's in excellent shape. Now look at the front bumper mounts. Observe that all of the bolts are in place and there's no damage to the mounting. As we work our way back, we begin to look at the suspension components, the front suspension components. Look at the air bellows. This is beginning to show some dry rot wear. This is rated a 3. The shocks show no sign of wear, no oil leakage, and the rubber bushings are in good shape. This is rated a 4. Okay. Inspect the radius rods and the rubber bushings. Again, these are in good shape. There's no noticeable wear to the rubber components, and this is rated a 4. Perform the same inspection on the other side. The brake lining is beginning to show some wear, but still within acceptable limits. This is a 3.5. The front air tanks are dirty, but don't show any damage or significant corrosion. These are a 4. The entire front axle is in good shape, showing no signs of corrosion. This is a 4. Moving on to the air dryer. The air dryer is once again in good shape. There's no oil. There's no evidence of leakage. It's dirty, but age apparent. So a 4 is appropriate for the air dryer. The air valves above the air dryer and the air lines are properly routed with no visible damage. These are a 4. As we walk towards the back, look for any damage, any missing undercoating, and the frame rails. Atlanta is in a favorable spot climate-wise. It sees very little snow, and therefore no salt on the roads. Inspect the water traps, making sure they are functional. This is a place where you often find damage on the street side, or more often on the curb side, but this coach has no significant damage on the underbody. The undercoating is evenly applied with no damage. That's rated a 4. The frame rails have no damage. They're rated a 4. We begin inspection of the rear suspension components. Similar to the front suspension, we inspect the rubber bushings on the radius rods. Yeah. The shocks. And the air bellows. There's no significant damage or wear shown on these items, and they're all rated a 4. Remember the 2 axles on the rear, so inspect all sets of shocks and air bellows. This is a good spot to inspect the tread depth on the tires and any damage on the sidewall. These tires look in good shape and will be rated a 4. At this point we can inspect the drive shaft, U-joints, and differential. There's no sign of leakage. The U-joint is properly greased, and this will be rated a 4. The brake linings are inspected as well. You can see that this lining is brand new. It's recently been replaced, and that will be rated a 5. Inspecting the transmission for leaks, we find none, and we'll rate this a 4. Okay. As we move towards the back, we look at the engine cradle. This engine cradle, as we saw from above, has no corrosion and will be rated a 4. Remember to check both sides. From the top of the engine, there was no significant oil leaks evident. From the bottom, we can see that there's some signs of leakage. we would rate this a 3. With that oil leak noted, we can continue our way back and look at the engine mounts. These rubber mounts are in good shape, showing no sign of deterioration. Oil leaks are a major contributor to deteriorating rubber components. And now we look at the mounting for the rear bumper. All bolts are present. The mounting structure is straight and not damaged. This mounting support structure is given a 4. Okay, now we've seen how to use the inspection form and what constitutes a 1 through 5 in our grading scale. Make sure you use a critical eye and think of the choice writer when evaluating the form, fit, and function of the components. Thank you for your attention in this video. If you have any questions, direct them to your supervisor, who will be able to guide you through the inspection process. Thank you.